What is going on today, nerds? Welcome back to an episode of WNN, your source for the music and music production news. It's a very interesting one today. Pandora is being sued, we got some new plugins, Kanye West drama, and more. In our first story, Pandora is being sued by the Mechanical Licensing Collective for improperly reporting and paying monthly royalties via their radio, which I do not understand how they fucked that up. They only play like 4 songs on Pandora. The lawsuit was filed on February 12th and is concerning unusually low royalties per stream. The Mechanical Licensing Collective administers blanket mechanical licenses for streaming and download services in the US, collecting royalties and paying music publishers, administrators, composers, and lyricists. The royalty rate for 2018 to 2022 was finally determined after a 5-year battle in August 2023. Some streaming services fought to pay a lower rate. While awaiting for this final rate to be determined, certain services such as Pandora were paying out the previous lower royalty rate. The services were paying less previously, but once the change was made, they had to go and retroactively pay more. So essentially, Pandora had to go back and pay higher rates for 2018 to 2022. They apparently kept reminding Pandora to report their adjustments for 2021 and 2022, and they had a deadline of February 9th. Got all f***ed up, and this lawsuit is a consequence of that. Believe it or not, for the first time ever, streaming services are the bad guy. Completely unheard of. I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good that they didn't pay out those royalty differences. Kind of makes you wonder if they don't have the money to do so. We have a new plugin today, guys. Completely unheard of news. This doesn't happen too often anymore. By Sound Ghost. Really? Sound Ghost? They released a new plugin named JUMBLE. It is a randomized sample explorer. You put a sample in it and it will jump to random positions in the sample while in sync with the BPM. Sort of like the Excellent Audio Life plugin. It's like a great value version, but I'll take it. Life is way too expensive. Real Life is way too expensive also, but I'm talking about Life the plugin. Costs too much for what it is. I'm honestly here for a knockoff version of Life. I think this is one good thing about there not being a lot of plugin ideas left. We will get people, well, maybe not even copying, but doing the same idea. We don't know if they copied their homework or not yet, but doing the same idea or a similar idea and, you know, lowering the price, hopefully. Like, yeah, this thing has less features, but I'll do anything to not pay $150 or whatever it is for that, because all I want to do is just stick percussion loops in it, get some different things out of it, or just randomized vocal chops. I don't want to pay $150 for that. I don't care about the phone app. It is only 49 pounds, normal price 79 pounds. So yeah, it's very similar. I don't know if it has as much focus on the, percussive element, but it seems like it jumps to like the transients and whatnot. So I think it can function in the same way. Is it as effective? I don't know. I do feel like the Life plugin did sound kind of lifeless in terms, which is ironic, obviously. But when you would stick a Foley loop into it, it would come out with a pretty generic, obvious sounding percussion loop. Like, I think their aim here was a bit different than the Life plugin, because that one clearly was for percussion or turning Foley into percussion. But yeah, like I said, this could be used in the same way. I'm almost positive. I almost feel like they purposely did not put percussion loops in this because they didn't want to seem like they are making it anything like that Life plugin. Maybe I'm wrong though, and they don't even know what the hell that Life plugin is. Yeah, they're completely ignoring the idea of using percussion with it. You know, I'm just gonna do it right now. I'm gonna test it real quick, see if it can do what I want it to do. No sample import or waveform edit functionality. Kind of a bummer of a demo. They're going a little bit hard on the restrictions here. Can't say I'm a fan of that. And there's only like 5 loops here. When you make a demo, you don't want to limit it to the point where people can't actually give it a real try, because in this case here, I wanted to know if you can chop up percussion loops, which it seems like you can, but I didn't know for sure, so I wouldn't pull the trigger on paying 50 pounds on this now because of that. Bad idea. In our next story, we have another new plugin. We're back, baby. NAMM's over. It's been a little bit of time, so we're getting those plugins that couldn't get finished in time for NAMM or couldn't get leaked for NAMM or whatever. Cherry Audio drum machine plugin. So it is a plugin emulation of the ROLAND CompuRhythm CR78, which used analog synthesis to create sounds that are more delicate than what you'll find in later boxes such as the 808 or 909. Cherry Audio seems to do a pretty good job of analog emulations. It promises to recreate the analog sounds and the 34 preset rhythms of the original drum machine. They added a song mode for pattern chaining. It uses model synthesis, as 4 effects, not a whole lot, but hopefully you, at this point, if you're interested in plugins, you have other plugins that have effects. According to them, they have featured a simpler interface within it. It seems to have a lot of different options, but for some reason, I do not see an option to put in your own sounds. I actually double checked it with the trial, and you can't put your own sounds in it, but I believe that is due to the fact that it synthesizes the sounds, and that was not what they were going for. Nonetheless, it still would have been useful for people who wanted to combine those synthesized sounds with sampled sounds.
The world's first programmable microprocessor-controlled analog drum machine. Hitmakers such as Blondie, Phil Collins.
There's something really funny about the way they just, I don't know, like the production value seems decent here, and all of a sudden we get these spinning cubes, which look like a lower grade render, and I don't know, they just spin really funny. I don't know what's so funny about this.
Drum machine. Hitmakers such as Blondie, Phil Collins.
Like, it's clearly a lower resolution.
Cherry Audio's CR78 includes versatile plugin options.
If this doesn't seem that interesting to you, it's insanely interesting to me. Like I said, they're really just running out of ideas these days. There's not a lot left, man. Oh, okay, I'm not a big fan of that right there. This is how you switch sounds here. Okay, so it doesn't look like you can put your own samples. I was just curious. So yeah, it's a purely physically modeled, I don't know if it's physically modeled, it's a modeled drum machine. So this is like for some serious time traveling, or I don't know if you're trying to get this sort of sound. As many of you may know, Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign recently released an album named Vultures 1, and there's quite a bit of drama surrounding it. So we'll just set aside all of Kanye West's comments and controversies over the past few years, all the anti-Semitic stuff. I'm gonna assume you're all pretty caught up on that. He said a lot of things a lot of people are not liking, so that's basically the starting point on this. I'm not really gonna dig into it too much. One drama was Anthony Fantano refusing to review it, which pissed off a lot of people, and I did a little video on it on my second channel. Check that out, linked in the description. But anyway, we're gonna talk about some serious shit here today, guys. Are you ready? Uncleared samples. Now, there are plenty of uncleared samples out there. I would say it's not even that big of a deal when you're an underground artist, but when you're an artist the size of Kanye West, it's gonna become a very big thing. So Kanye West reportedly sampled Black Sabbath's Iron Man song, the live version, on his song Carnival. He apparently requested permission and was denied by Ozzy Osbourne. 1 week ago, he was quoted as saying, Kanye West asked permission to sample a section of a 1983 live performance of Iron Man from the US festival without vocals, and was refused permission because he is an anti-Semite and has caused untold heartache to many. He went ahead and used the sample anyway at his album listening party last night. I want no association with this man. When a guy who has bit the head off a bat before wants nothing to do with you, not good. Kanye originally had the sample in his song during the event on February 8th promoting the album. Ozzy and his wife filed a cease and desist. Sharon Osbourne was quoted as saying, Kanye West with the wrong Jew this time, and that they don't normally refuse to clear samples, but they made an exception this time because they hate him. The sample has since been removed, and believe it or not, a nearly identical situation also happened on this album. He originally wanted to sample a Donna Summer song named I Feel Love. He was denied by Summer's estate and ended up putting the melody from the song in his song anyway. They were quoted as saying, Kanye West asked permission to use Donna Summer's song I Feel Love. He was denied. He changed the words, had someone re-sing it or used AI, but it's I Feel Love. Then they went on to accuse him of copyright infringement. There was a couple smaller situations featuring Taylor Swift and Shaquille O'Neal. They're not really that important though, the situations. I'm not saying that they're not important. I know Taylor Swift fans are already doxing my house and they're already sending an airstrike on me. That's not what I'm talking about though, okay? Take it easy, take it easy. Kanye responded to Ozzy very briefly in an IG story, saying he obviously has a celebrity handler who's on his account, accompanied by a picture of Ozzy and his wife dressing up as Kanye and his wife, I believe. I guess to point out that he's a hypocrite or something. Or that's not really how he feels. It's not exactly clear. Make of this whatever you will. Then you won't believe what happens next. There's another, it just keeps going. This album release cycle is great. Like, people will just keep talking about it. So many things. Now, essentially, the distributor that uploaded the album wants to take down the album. This was distributed by Fuga, which is a content management and distribution service, kind of like DistroMid or something, with less clients, and I'm assuming they have better service, and somehow a much worse logo. Apparently, Fuga is fugging pissed though. Late last year, Fuga was presented with the opportunity to release Vultures 1. Exercising our judgment in the ordinary course of business, we declined to do so. So apparently they had the opportunity to release it and they didn't do it, but somebody ninja'd that on there. They got somebody else to upload it on there. So another Fuga client sent it in through an automated service, which apparently violates the service agreement. So basically they're gonna f that guy in the ass. and remove the albums from their system. It will most likely be transferred to another service after, so this is really inconsequential. I'm sure somebody will upload it, it's easy money, but it seems like a lot of people are passing on this because of his anti-Semitic comments. Nobody's f***ing with your boy anymore. While I was working on this video, I stumbled across a Billboard article revealing that there's another uncleared Black Sabbath sample on the album, as well as other uncleared samples. Billboard just decided to go full sample snitch mode here. Now, while it's unfair to do this to an underground artist, Kanye West should be able to clear these samples, or at least attempt to. For all we know, he may have been denied by these artists after reaching out also. So apparently there are still elements of Iron Man on the album. It has a sample of Kanye's track Hell of a Life from 2010, which has an interpolation of the Iron Man riff. The ironic part is that song has even more people to make payments out to than the Iron Man song. So basically he swapped one unauthorized sample for another, and then brought in another unauthorized song. Apparently there's also an uncleared James Brown sample. Everyone is just coming from every direction to tell on him, it's crazy. Kanye's team is working with a sample clearance company to license the works needed. This has been causing problems for the album as a song was removed from streaming services. Shay Pope from Yeezy Music said the license issues were a matter of not knowing which songs were going to make the cut. They didn't know until it was close to the release date. One thing real quick, I missed this earlier, but Sharon Osbourne also said they don't want to be associated with a hater. I think they meant that in a different way than what we were all probably thinking. Apparently there's even more uncleared samples than this, but it really seems like a lot of people do not like Kanye West at this point. In our next story, Roland teams up with Supreme. They are releasing Supreme special versions of a Roland synth and drum machine in the spring/summer 2024 collection. The JU06A is inspired by the Juno 106 and the Juno 60, and the TR8 is modeled after the TR808, both of which are white with Supreme logos on them, and I can guesstimate they are very expensive. Yeah, I gotta say this logo placement is unfortunate. Looks kind of cool, but definitely interferes with operating it. You guys remember that Supreme brick? Supreme was selling bricks, and I mean, I see them going for a couple $100 to $800. It's literally just a brick. It kind of seems fitting though. You pay a lot of money for this brick, then you can bash yourself in the head after for making such a poor financial decision. It's literally just a brick with the Supreme logo on it. A brick. If you want to know how overpriced this shit is. In our next story, we got another new plugin. Oh boy. Can't get enough of those plugins, man. This one by UVI with, of course, Venus Theory demonstrating it. They get him to do it every time. They must have him on like a bulk deal at this point. Buy 20, get 5 free or something of the sort. So it is based on the sound of a world-class concert piano. It is a 3-layer engine with 100 customizable textures and atmospheres. It kind of reminds me of augmented piano. It has an intro price of $79 until February 25th, and it is a normal price of $129. They state it has come from the need of a creative, modern-oriented piano sound meant to reinforce the piano's tonal signature with a wide range of textural elements and atmospheres, sounding more and more like augmented piano at this point. Multi-layer engine, yep. I'll give you a quick little play some of the sounds here real quick for you. I mean, at the intro price, it doesn't sound that bad. In our next story, this is a little bit more of a PSA about protecting your hearing. So many of you guys have probably heard of PINKPANTHRESS. Pretty popular pop R&B musician, garage. She's only 22, by the way. She has lost 80% of the hearing in one of her ears after it was damaged by microphone feedback. So one, I guess this is a lesson in do not point the microphone at the speaker. Secondly, wear hearing protection in those sort of instances. Recently on a podcast, she was quoted as saying, "At first, it was just a really annoying ringing, and I thought it was going to be fine, but it happened on the day, and ever since that day, even on the day it happened, I was trying to find," what is this sentence right here? "I got like some weird eardrops, and I thought I was going to help. I thought it was going to be fine in the coming weeks." Sadly, though, it never got better. So yeah, guys, protect your hearing. Really important stuff. Okay, guys, that's it for this episode of WN. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to support the channel, consider joining my Patreon or becoming a channel member. You get exclusive content. I'm trying to upload an exclusive video every other video or so. Maybe I might miss a few here and there. But also a sample pack I provide once a month. You can go back and download all the other ones. All you have to do is join the $5 tier at least. The $1 tier gets you nothing. So I'll see you guys next time.
Bang Incorporated.